So, what's the real cost of just staying silent when you know something isn't true? We do it all the time, right? To keep the peace. But today, we're going to dive into the hidden karma of that silence. Look, it's a situation we all face, and the consequences, they might just be a whole lot bigger than we think.
We tell ourselves this story, don't we? That staying quiet is just the path of least resistance. It's how we avoid a fight, how we keep things calm. But is our silence really creating peace? Or is it maybe shattering something way more important deep inside of us? Let's find out. And that right there, that's the heart of what we're talking about today. This powerful idea comes from the ancient wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita, and it basically proposes that inaction, it isn't neutral, not at all. It is, in and of itself, a choice. And it's a choice that has its own set of consequences, its own karmic weight. To really get this, the Gita sets up its main conflict not as some big physical war, but as an internal, psychological battlefield. It's all about that crisis we feel inside when we're faced with a really difficult truth. And this is where it gets fascinating, I think. The Gita has a specific word for this state, adharma. It's not just wrongdoing in a simple sense. It's a state of deep disorder, both inside you and in the world around you. And here's the kicker. By staying silent when you're faced with a lie, you aren't avoiding that disorder. You're actually actively helping to sustain it.
So yeah, our silence, it's not passive. Not at all. It has energy. It actually creates momentum, like giving a little push to a snowball rolling downhill, allowing that distortion to just get bigger and bigger. Choosing not to act is an action, and it's a powerful one that shapes the world around us.
Okay, so that's the ancient wisdom, right? But this is where it gets really cool. This idea connects perfectly with what modern psychology is telling us about the real measurable cost of tolerating dishonesty. The link between the two is it's truly fascinating. Think about it. Tolerating a lie, it's not a one-and-done thing. It kicks off this whole cycle. A lie is told, and our silence basically acts as a green light. It reinforces the liar's behavior, sure, but at the exact same time, it starts to chip away at our own personal boundaries. And these costs, they aren't just abstract ideas. They are tangible. Research shows that when you consistently silence yourself, there are very real consequences for you. Your thinking gets foggy, you start to doubt your own gut feelings, your intuition. Your body physically responds with more stress. That is a huge price to pay for what we call keeping the peace, isn't it? And this quote just nails it, right? It perfectly shows how these two worlds of thought, ancient wisdom and modern science, are saying the exact same thing. Fear is so often why we stay quiet. But whether you call it the path of ruin or boundary erosion, the outcome is identical. Unaddressed falsehood weakens our personal sovereignty from the inside out. All right, so how do we flip the script on this? I want to give you a totally new way to think about it, a model that shows just how valuable the thing we're giving up really is. Let's start thinking of truth as a kind of currency. I mean, just look at this. The choice couldn't be clearer. On one side, you've got tolerating deception, which brings chaos and mental exhaustion. On the other side, upholding truth. That builds real inner stability and mental clarity. The question is pretty simple, really. Which of these accounts do you want to be investing in? Wow, what a beautiful way to put it. When you let deception into your world, it's like you're just constantly throwing rocks into that calm, quiet lake inside of you, just creating nonstop ripples and turbulence. But when you align with what's true, that's what gives you that steadiness, that deep inner calm. That's emotional regulation. Okay, so we get the problem, we see the cost. The big question now is, what do we actually do about it? How do we protect that inner stability? Let's get into some real actionable strategies. Here are 4 really powerful ways to start. First up, trust your intuition, your gut. Science actually shows your body often knows something's off before your brain catches up. Second, learn to communicate assertively, and that's very different from being aggressive. Third, and this is a big one, make a conscious decision to end self-silencing. And finally, take a hard look at your surroundings. You've got to curate your environment and surround yourself with people who actually value integrity. And all of this, it brings us to the final and maybe the most important choice. This whole conversation isn't about blaming other people. It's about looking in the mirror and reclaiming our own personal agency, our power to act. After this entire epic conversation, this is Krishna's final instruction to Arjuna, and it's so powerful. He isn't saying, oh, well, do whatever you want. Not at all. It's an incredibly empowering command. It's saying, take all this wisdom, reflect on it, find your own clarity, and then make sure your actions line up with that truth. So what's the big takeaway here? Think of it like this. This is your karmic intelligence. When you choose to honor what is true, your whole life starts to click back into alignment. When you decide to confront dishonesty, you take back your power. And when you refuse to be silent, you become the one who safeguards your own future. And that leaves us with this one final, powerful question to really think about. Every single time you face this choice, to speak up or to stay silent, you are building a future. The only question is, whose future are you building? The liar's or your own?